All right. Okay, we've got a good, a healthy crew, it looks like. We had quite a few signups, so I was expecting a pretty big group today. Welcome back, everyone. And I think we just decided that I can say Happy New Year because I haven't seen you all since November, which seems like an eternity ago, to be honest. All right. And what? Let's go ahead and get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to CI Mastermind Live. Let me get to the right slide here. Oh, and Chris, you're letting people in, I assume?
I am. Yep.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let me get rid of those things. Okay. So this is, for those of you that haven't been on before, I think many of you have, this is our monthly discussion between CI professionals, facilitated small group discussion, 5 to 20, like I think we've been running probably around usually over 10, a little bit less than 15. My guess is we'll break that typical today. Brief learning on a topic. Today is going to be a little different because I want to talk a little bit about Chalmers St. I want to talk a little bit about lean leader standard work, but we will do some goal setting. So I always want to make sure that there's something in there that is that you can all take back. Like that's the key in all of this. So focus on real-time problem solving and rotational. So thank you for all the input on the registration questionnaire. It was really good, and we've got quite a few different things we can chat about based on what you all provided. This is being recorded and transcribed, and we do use it in our marketing, so just want to make sure you are aware of that. We like to see your face because I like to look at people when I talk to them. It's just this weird thing about me. Oh, we're doing something new. So, and I'm kind of going back and forth on this. We want to, at each session, ask you to tell us the biggest win of the month. And obviously, we only have 45 minutes, so we can't all talk about all your biggest wins of the month. But you could put it in the chat. What was the circumstances? What made it a win? And what Chris's team is going to do for us is compile those and turn it into like a mid-month synopsis of here's what people did and here's wins that they had. The value being, I think there's a couple pieces of value. One, this is a community that I'm building, right? So I want you all to feel somewhat connected. And I believe we can learn from each other this way. Like we can find ideas that other people had and go, you know what, I have a problem like that too, and maybe that solves it. So that's something I'm going to start asking for. And what I'm trying to think of is, do I actually open these sessions like 5 minutes early and then we do it, or do we just do it as part of the session? Right now, I'm just going to do it as part of the session. But if we feel like it becomes cumbersome somehow, maybe I'll open the session early and we can do it. So as of now, I would like you to do a few things in the chat. Who are you? What do you do? And if you have a win that you can share with the group, share that win now. If you're someone in transition, hunting for a job, put that in there too, and we'll keep an eye out for you on that. Any questions? How many people think this is great, this idea? How many don't care? Okay, all right. It took a little minute, but I saw the thumbs go up. Okay. All right, good stuff. Okay. So we've got me on tap today, and I will kind of jump into things from here. Oh, always remember, please respect your peers. Don't share information about your companies that you shouldn't share. and please join in the solving. And today especially, well, it's always true. Today though, where I think I want your help is, I'm going to pick a few folks who gave me a skill they want to develop this year. I'm going to kind of talk them through how to formulate a goal around that. And I'd like to hear from all of you. Give them feedback as well, like what you think of the goal and what you think of some of their answers to the questions that I ask, to help them. So that's going to be important. We have a new landing page. Is everybody seeing this new landing page? My screen? Yes. At some point in the future, Chris is going to make it so that like my face is here and some of my team members are down here, and it's going to be like some crazy magic that he does. And if you all want to know how to do that, you're going to have to go engage him separately. But the main thing that we wanted to achieve with this new page was give you the opportunity to look out a few months. We definitely see that topic selection is a significant component of how people decide that they're going to come to one of our sessions. So this will give us an idea of what topics people really get jazzed about, and it'll allow you to kind of look ahead and if you want to be here for a certain topic, make sure that you segment the time to do that. Yeah. So this is live now. You can go there and start registering for whatever month. At the end of January here, we'll remove January and we'll add July. Cool? All right. February, we have Tim Barrett. I don't think Tim was able to join today, but Tim's been on, and I'm excited about this one. If you've ever been in a situation or a company where people kind of like, when they talk about values, people kind of roll their eyes, right? He's going to address that problem of companies really living their values, companies really not just putting it on paper, but what are the practices to make those values real? And he's going to tell us how EOS does it. And I think you guys know I'm a big fan of the EOS system. That's an entrepreneurial operating system. I'm a big fan of that system. And so he's going to talk to us about how EOS teaches their companies to do this. And I believe that's something that we can all take back. Values are important. I think too, sometimes we look at the leadership and go, oh, they're not living their values. Well, it's easy for us to be critical of that, right? In the leadership role, it can be hard. And sometimes living those values can be up to interpretation. And so I'm really excited about this one because I think it's a very important thing. I think it's something that companies struggle with. Okay. That'll be on the 26th. You can register. I'll send an email out afterwards. Okay. Chalmers Street update. So one of the selfish reasons that I do these calls, it was actually my business development coach a couple of years ago said, Matt, the people is where you get your business. You need to know more people. so that's part of it. That's a selfish reason for this. I know that I need to give you all value to come on, but I do want to make sure you recognize that this is a business I'm running. And I'd like to make sure you know what I do so that when you hear of something, you think, oh, let me recommend Chalmers Street because Matt does this thing once a month and he's a good guy and he knows his stuff. And so I'm gonna refer him in. So this purpose of this is just to make sure you guys all know what we do and can listen for us, right? So we talk a lot about CI Mastermind. That's one thing that we do, our CI Mastermind program, and this is our development program. This is how we transform the workforce, how we develop the employee base, all that kind of stuff. Actually, the major source of our work comes from supply chain optimization and industrial engineering, optimizing operational flows for our clients and helping them sustain gains. And that is really the major component of what we do, and a lot of what's needed out there in the industry right now. Additionally, we help companies with their strategy, not developing a product marketing strategy, but developing an operational strategy to execute on the initiatives that they need to achieve in order to be successful, in order to hit new levels of performance. Okay, so op strategy, CI Mastermind, supply chain optimization, industrial engineering. I'm going to talk a little bit more about those, but I promise I'm not going to turn this into a long commercial. So what that means is we help companies with labor cost pressures, capacity constraints. That's probably the biggest area in the last, my gosh, probably for most of the time of the company, is companies are trying to scale and they can't get enough labor to do it. And so, how do we look at the processes, make them more efficient, identify automation to make them more efficient, and help the company scale? Space utilization, manual processes, all of those are the problems we solve with those pillars that you saw earlier. Supply chain specifically, probably these you guys are pretty familiar with, but also, and these are just things that I don't talk a lot about: layout optimization, slotting, labor standards, ergonomics, capacity modeling. We have projects in all those areas. I have a partner, you'll see his face shortly. He helps us with vertical lifts, vertical storage equipment, AMRs, those are like the little robots that go around, conveyor systems, warehouse management systems. All of those things are places where ourselves or us with our partners, we've implemented improvements. Industrial engineering, we do lots of process mapping, lots of standardization. I had 4 people for 6 months in New Jersey last year, just mapping out a warehouse, doing the time standards. We did, if you're familiar with MOST, that's an industrial engineering methodology. We had them doing that. We do 5S. We do KPIs creation. We build dashboards in Power BI, change management, and we do a lot of accountability work. So, our folks will go out to site once a week and check the process. Are we following the process? Are we managing the process? And I'll talk a little bit about leader standard work shortly. So all those things we do. Right now, we have a multi-facility project where we're doing labor standards. We have a client where we're doing industrial engineering services on a weekly, almost 2 or 3 times a week. We're there. We're deploying a 5S program. We've got a company where we're doing value stream mapping, helping them understand what's important to their customer with those value stream maps. We're doing Kanban implementation. We're implementing a WMS for a company and automation as well, or to work with the automation anyways. We're working on a potential project for some warehouse automation integration, a backward scheduling project, some daily production coordination. Like, think of knowing what you have to do today. So my guys will go to site, observe what they're doing, and help them build a daily schedule. And then operation strategy deployment. This is kind of back to what are the initiatives that we need for the year? How do we build that roadmap and resource it? I have a core team. At any given time, we probably have 6 people doing some projects for us, and then anywhere from 4 or 5 more as kind of doing more contract type work. So we have a full team. Mike Shannon is our solutions architect. He knows everything supply chain and automation. Greg Snyder has tons of experience building operational models, like scheduling models and things like that. So huge amount of talent and skill here within the team. Okay. Any questions on that? Was that did you guys know this already, or how many people? Just give me a thumbs up. Was something new? You learned something new about Chalmers Street there? Okay, awesome. I love introductions. I am not salesy. I'll start by understanding people's problems, and we're not always the right solution. I will direct people to someone who I think is the right solution. Okay, cool. All right, let's switch gears slightly, and I need some notes. So we've been deploying leader standard work for a few years now, and okay, show of hands again. This is semi-interactive today, I guess. Who has a leader standard work program at their company? Show of hands. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay. And then how many of you know what leader standard work is? Another show of hands. Okay. That I'm just going to call that most everybody. Everybody. Okay, good. So you guys know what it is. And so I'm not going to go into that. What I'm going to say is we've had, let me grab some water here because I'm doing way too much of the talking. We've had 4 deployments, and 2 used an Excel-based tool. 2 used our system, the CI Mastermind platform, which I've told you guys before. I won't go into now. So all of them are probably at least 6 months old. Not probably. All of them are at least 6 months old. Some of them are a year old. And all 4 of them are still going, right? So I've at least contacted and checked in enough to know that all 4 are at least going. So, you know, a year does not mean success, especially with something like leader standard work. For those of you that are doing it or have tried it, know that this is one of those programs where people will give you all the reasons why they don't really need to do this. Like, oh, you know, Matt, we already do that. I'm just checking a box, blah, 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 right? And it's all true until they stop doing it. And that's the problem. So 4 of them, all over 6 months, some of them a year, continuing on. So that's good. For the 2 Excel deployments, it's hard for me to monitor exactly what they're doing. And it's hard for me to know the quality of what they're doing. What I can tell you is, for sure, at least at one of the cases, he makes review of those leader standard work documents part of his weekly check-in. That's a reason why it's successful. If you don't do something with those sheets, for lack of a better explanation, it becomes less important. People don't do it, and it falls apart. So that would be one, right? That would just be one thing that you all should take away from this is it has to be part of a routine that has a check in it, and we have to use it, right? So that's one. So the other Excel one, I know at one time he was using it in his sessions, but I can't say anymore at this point to what extent he is or if he is. The two CI ones using the CI Mastermind system, those we were able to check up on. And what we have found, so for one of the clients, their deployment was moderate, I would say. So we can go in there and see who's keeping up, who isn't, and go back and understand why. For the one that I would say is a moderate deployment, the leader of the organization had 3 sub-leaders. One of those sub-leaders was not completely bought in, and surprise, surprise, that's where the least amount of consistency in reporting. And we look for 4 things. We look for completion, we look for issues noted, we look for notes, and we look for checks across the board. And if we're seeing those things, we're like, okay, they're in. If we're seeing something less, then there's a problem. The two leaders that reinforce the leader standard work, great. The one that's not so good. So again, leadership reinforcement, I would say that's what's needed there. For the other one, the challenge has been they merged two buildings, and now that's become an excuse, right? For not following through. So they were really good. We could see they were really good for a while. Merged building, excuses started, and that's where we have to get back on track. So I want to ask the group, what have you seen in terms of good deployments and poor deployments? Anyone can speak up.
Matt, I had a question for you. Did these folks ask you to help them solve problems and you identified the need for standard work, or did they say we need standard? What was the problem they were trying to fix? How was it?
The first, and what we saw in solving problems is that the process didn't stick, the improvements didn't stick, and we said you need leaders that have specific practices during the day that are checking that the processes are sticking. And so we suggested in all three cases. One case was as part of our CI Mastermind program with them. This is just part of the deployment. But even there, it was still clear that we needed them to develop a leader habit where they are reinforcing leader standard work. Where they're reinforcing process consistency, discipline, and routines. What's driving the question, Dave?
It definitely has a bearing on how successful it is. I think that very initial question. Two things that I think folks struggle with rollout or sticking to it, or an excuse, or why it isn't successful. I think some folks just don't want to be pinned down. This is a standard and they don't want to be held to a standard. That's if it's not written down, you won't know if I'm not doing it kind of approach. And the biggest struggle I have is with leadership. Well, I don't know what I'm going to do today. Well, that we can incorporate that in the standard work when you do, but there are things that you need to do every day.
100%. And that is so we do this with technical roles as well, engineering roles, maintenance roles. And their argument always back to us is, well, every one of my days is different. And I go, really? Is it really that different? Like, what are the things that you have to do every day? Sure enough, there's always something, right? Yeah. And there's always some report that they have to do. Maybe it's not every day, but every week that they hate. And they want to make an excuse for why they don't do it. So this is good, Dave. I want to go back to the group and ask, who's also seen that problem that people don't want to be pinned down, and what have you done about it?
Most recently, I've had an employee that I'm trying to do an LSW for, but it's more of like a day-to-day. I guess they would call it a timesheet, because we've had a lot of change in our organization. And so what I'm trying to do is trying to get a better idea as to what they feel like they do every day. And so that way, and the way I've explained it to them, especially with people I get pushback from, is if I can categorize how your day goes, and I can, if say like there's 100 hours of work that needs to get done within a week on the team, but we have 120 hours of work that needs to get done, that means we're going to be building 20 hours of work every day or every week. And And so then I need you guys to fill this out. So that way, if you guys are feeling overwhelmed, then I can go and make a business case to show, hey, if we want to show, if we want to, even if it may not, we may not get like the return on the investment from an ROI perspective, that's what we have to pay for the quality of like either first response or whatever metric we're trying to go by.
I love that. It's very hard to justify supervisor roles. Like what's the ratio? 1-6, 1-3? At Motorola, we had groups that were 1-10 and 1-20. I kid you not. Not realistic. Just yesterday, reviewing leader standard work with one of our clients, and we do have one of our clients pays us, actually, I shouldn't say pays us. We have a CI role with them that we're constantly once a week going in and checking this for them. So it's part of our routine. And the leader looked at one of his folks' leader standard work. He goes, "You have 12 hours of work on your daily list." And she goes, "Yep." It's like, "How are you getting that all done?" She goes, "It doesn't get all done." How else do you have that conversation, Tony? Right? Like that's how you have the conversation. So some of those things have to be removed. And we always find this in deployment that we have to pull some stuff off and we have to delegate. Those are two very useful learnings because they're not really happening. People think they're happening, but they're not really happening. Any other points people want to make on this? This is a great point that Tony just made.
Yeah, just to add to that, I've focused on the pain points is, especially middle managers, supervisors, they're just so pulled in so many directions. Be able to identify what they're spending their time on, to organize and then better structure is something that has been helpful for me.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think one thing that's I'll talk to some guys and now I didn't get my standard work done yesterday. And my approach is that's perfect. That's what we need to know. Why didn't you get it done? That there's a problem there. Something's wrong. You should be able to get it done. And then that gets them thinking, what was different about yesterday? What could I change? Did I need to be involved in it? And it really starts the thought process for me.
And I think that's actually the answer to the question that you asked. I think part of the answer is for some people, you're never going to get through to them. But I think if they do start to see the value in it for themselves, it does lead to a better engagement. And you get past the not wanting to be pinned down. Well, you're pinned down either way, man. Like, let's be honest. Okay, so that's kind of my update. That is my update for leader standard work. We're adding a score feature to the tool, and we're going to start using that with the 2 clients that are in the tool. I will let you know once that's deployed how that's going to go. I'm excited about it because I think it's something that a leader could use and say, "Hey, you're not really doing this," and even a little bit of comparison. We'll see. I could see it backfiring on us too. But don't share that outside of the session. And Chris, remove that from the recording. But I'm excited about it because it's giving a number to engagement on leader standard work. I think that could be very powerful. I do think it's how we deploy it, but I'll let you know once we get that done. Okay, so last piece. We got 15 minutes here. And again, you guys did a wonderful job. And I need to organize some things here. So be patient, please. All right. So we all do goal setting. I don't doubt it. You guys have all done goal setting before. I feel like we miss some things in goal setting sometimes. And so I wanted to do 2 things here. One, give you the opportunity to do goal setting with the CI Mastermind Live group. And so I've created a document. I'm going to put it in the chat. Maybe. Give me a second here. Sorry, there's still more to organize, I guess. Let me know if you can access this. I'll show it quick. But then I'm going to jump over. So it's an opportunity for you to do some goal setting for yourself somewhere other than at work. I think maybe more skills based, but frankly, however you want to use it, I'm open to it. And when you participate, we'll either use these sessions. I want to be careful that we don't overtax these sessions. I might follow up with you individually. I think many of you know I'll reach out to you through the course of the year just to check in. But use this document to capture your goal. So that's one objective. The other is let's be very deliberate in how we create our goals. And so I have a set of questions that I want us to go through. They're also in that document. And I'm going to take a couple people through it now. And this is where I want everyone to engage. So Ryan Steinert, are you on? Yes, I see you.
I'm on. Yep.
Are you excited to be selected out of the whole group for this?
I'm not sure. I guess I'll see.
All right. You gave a very long response. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The question was, think about your strengths and weaknesses. What one skill you'd like to develop in 2026 that improves your change management ability? And you said, the one I want to take from what you said is unlocking future state thinking with better questions. Often goals or problem statements are easy to rally around, but when teams come together, they end up designing future states that look very much like the current state. So my question is, can you explain what you were thinking to the group first?
Yeah, I think I've done a lot of value stream mapping, and the group gets really energized when they start with the current state and talking about what they're currently doing and thinking about the waste, and they're able to see the waste. But then when we get to future state, physically calling out like, okay, now what where would we change? What would we change? Some of the waste things are easy to like figure out how to peel some of those away, but asking better questions to get them thinking a little bit more about what that future state could look like, and actually getting it looking a little bit different towards their goals.
Why is this goal important to you, Ryan?
Well, I'm doing a lot more, projects around data transformation as of recent. Companies either going into new ERPs, asking themselves how can they utilize AI, asking themselves how they can look at each of their systems and integrate them together. So by value stream mapping, process mapping, what have you, trying to look at just have them make better decisions and think about what the bigger picture could look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now, if they do it right.
What is the impact if you do it right? What is the impact to you or to the company?
When they're making the big decision of what solution to move forward with, they can feel a lot more confident that they're not going to just switch to another one 2 years from now.
So consistency or commitment.
Sure.
So I asked two really crucial questions there. I've got a few more for you, Ryan, but I'm going to ask the group. Why is it that I'm asking specifically the question, why is this important to you? And what is the impact? Why someone on here could argue, and if you want to, I encourage you to. aren't those obvious? And isn't it kind of the same thing, Matt? Like, why are we calling those out specifically? Does anybody want to argue with me on that? Why those two questions are very important, or explain why you agree with me that those two questions are very important?
I'll agree with you. I think it's the emotional connection to your goal that's going to drive you through the hard times that you need to get through.
The why is always important.
Fuels the why. The why is always important. How do we make decisions? A lot of times they're emotional, right? Actually, I think some would say they're always emotional. So that's why I wrote those out. Make it personal. Thank you. That's why I wrote those out. The next two are also important. We'll ask why in a minute, but first let's ask Ryan. So Ryan, what's your first step to achieving this goal? One, don't make it a huge step, a small step that you could take in the next 30 days. He's like, why did I do this to myself? You're amongst friends, right?
I think it's more. Probably a good first step is reflection on what questions were asked that got good results. Where the teams opened up more. I think if I look back at some of my past projects, that might help open up some. Almost have a list of things that you can kind of fall back on.
That would tell you what the better questions are. Is that what you're thinking for future state thinking?
Yeah, almost defining or trying to figure out why did those questions open up better discussion.
Great. How will you validate that you were successful with this goal?
Pick a couple and try it again on the next project.
What will you look at the end of the project? At a minimum, maybe achieving the goal. Somebody help Ryan. He's trying to validate that he got the group to think more future state, that they thought more broadly about the future. How does he validate that the team's really doing that? That's a hard one. Like, a lot of these are intangible. It's hard. Help him.
Well, you stated that a lot of the times the future condition looks like the current condition. If you're successful, that'll change, right? The future won't look like the current.
Ryan, does that help?
Yeah, I think that's the goal.
I think you have to be careful.
Is it more like a case of like an incremental change versus like a radical change?
Yeah, I think it's easy to pick things out that you can do, 30, 60, 90 days, but thinking about the things that are really going to impact a year from now, several years from now. I think I heard a good quote not too long ago that said, we often overestimate what we can do within a year, but underestimate what we can do in 10. And I think it's the same in future state, is like we can pick a lot of good things that we can do really in short term, but thinking long term, what are those major things that we need to change?
And I think you might have to play a role as kind of the paradigm breaker.
Yep.
And then you have to be honest with yourself on whether or not they really broke the paradigm, and that can be the other hard thing with a goal like this. But very good. I want to try and squeeze one more in. So I'm going to look at Chad Mortal. Did I say that right, Chad?
It's Mortel.
Chad Mortel. And Chad, you said you were very brief.
Oh.
Difficult conversations. Difficult. Do you remember writing that?
Oh, difficult conversations. Yes.
Okay, so can you tell me what you were thinking when you wrote that you want to set a goal in terms of improving your skill around difficult conversations?
Wow. So I didn't really think about the fact that I'd have to validate it or actually, stepwise it. I just,
So by the way, Chad and everybody, that's okay. And that's why I'm doing this. I hope
Mhm.
you guys are okay with me putting you on the spot. I think that's the value of this kind of thing. Okay, go ahead, Chad. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. So I think what I'm struggling with in my personality, I'm not super confrontational, but then again, really, who is? And I just want to learn how to broach those conversations and lead them, in a steady, uh, effective manner.
And why is that important to you?
Well, it because that's a good point. Now we're getting to the meat of it. So, it's important to me because it affects my ability to lead and lead change. So it really comes down to, you're going to have people, you're going to have a few outliers in your organization who are really against change, and those can be difficult conversations. And I've had them before, but I just want to get better at it because it makes the implementation more effective.
And I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I am. What I heard was it affects the impact is you're going to lead better and you're going to have more successful projects. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is a first step you can take in achieving that goal?
That's actually pretty easy because I did it this morning. I discovered a book. I think it's called The Steady Leader. And I'm really a big fan of leadership. I like to study it and practice it. I like to read books on it. So my style of leadership historically has been more of the charismatic, enthusiastic type. And I'm looking to try on a different method, which is to be more of that steady state, um, even keeled person. I think that'll be more effective because I think that my enthusiasm, once it wears off on people, they lose their self motivation. So I want them to be self motivated more than motivated by my energy, as it were. I bought the book on Kindle, so I started reading it this morning.
All right. Well, we may have you report back on that.
I would love to.
Wonderful. How will you validate that you did this, that you were successful?
I think that when I encounter a difficult conversation and I handle it well, when I'm finished, I'll have a feeling, that I was successful. And it's going to come down to that feeling. I'm going to walk away from it feeling like I made a difference. Did I get through to them? Obviously, is an important part too. It's not just me talking to them, but me listening to them and trying to get through what their concerns are and what I can do to help them.
Lynn, I want you, I know you put it in the chat, but can you talk about that? I agree with what you said.
Yeah. Just thinking about my memory is such that when I look back, like everybody, I tend to focus on where I struggled. But if you're going through a project or just working on your goal, I think both of these examples are ones where they're going to have some reflection and getting into that habit of doing it on an ongoing basis and documenting what you're seeing. You might say, oh, this type of situation I'm still struggling with. What have I already tried? And conversely, you can see it. Oh, this is working well here. How do I leverage that approach and do more of it? So by making that very granular, that helps you spot those trends, and if you're like me, remember more of the details of what worked and what didn't.
Okay.
I'm trying to decide which way I want to do. So just to reinforce, I think we forget, to Lynn's point, and I think sometimes we can be either way. Sometimes we're too hard on ourselves. Sometimes we're too easy. And be careful with the word feel. When I heard you say feel, I'm like,
yeah, that's true.
it's going to be a little subjective. There's no doubt, but how can you make it a little more objective?
I think as soon as I
Go
said
ahead.
that, I realized that the more objective measure would be that I can see my influence taking effect on the person I was talking to.
And there'll be specific behaviors that you can say, I saw that behavior or I didn't see that behavior. That's evidence.
Yeah. Whether they're participating or not in the change. Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for calling on me.
Absolutely. And you're welcome. And thank you for participating. It always goes fast, everybody. Thank you so much. We are going to get into values next time. I hope you will all join. Please do. I will send this link out after the chat or after the call in an email and include it's including how this questioning process that we did inside the spreadsheet. Hopefully that made sense. And please do participate, and I'll either follow up in these sessions or one-on-one throughout the year. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to 2026 with you all.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Matt. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.